Hey, this is Roy Furr with Breakthrough Marketing Secrets with another Video Friday issue for you. And today I want to talk about this topic: be vulnerable, an unexpected path to business success. You ready? Let's dive in. All right. So, this is a common mantra in business. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? And a lot of people in like the self-help industry really put this out there as a challenge to be your best, as a challenge to go after big things and exciting things. But this might actually be the wrong mantra. And here is the alternative. What's worth doing even if you fail? What's worth doing even if you fail? If you try something and you fail, will you still be happy with yourself just for trying? Now, I got that from this book, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. And this is a book that my wife recommended to me. She has some TED Talks. She's an awesome speaker, and she's an awesome author and talks about a lot of topics that resonate with me on a deep level and are consistent with what I've been doing when I've been my most successful. And so I'm reading this book right now. And one of the things that she talks about in that book is how much we admire vulnerability in others, but fear it in ourselves. And this is something that we have to get over if we want to achieve big things and make a big difference in the world, whether that's growing a business, whether that's creating career success that we want, whatever that is. We have to overcome this dichotomy between seeing other people being vulnerable, being up on stage at TED or whatever conference you're at, and being in awe of those people, but at the same time feeling like, oh geez, I can't do that. I can't get up there and do that. And the biggest breakthroughs in your life will come when you actually dare greatly, a nod to the title of the book, and choose to be vulnerable even though failure is possible, even likely. So I have a couple quick examples for you. For example, in 2009, before I even launched my copywriting career, I actually was given the opportunity to step on stage and do a 15-minute presentation as part of a panel at the AWAI Bootcamp, the first ever of bootcamp from that company that I attended as a copywriter. And I was asked to be a presenter. Now, at the time, I wasn't a public speaker. I didn't do these videos. I didn't do presentations, but I embraced that vulnerable opportunity and stepped on stage. And it was my first moment in the spotlight in my industry. And I think really actually did help me launch my career in the industry. Another example, I talk about this in my Copywriter's Guide to Getting Paid book. I wrote a letter, an irresistible offer letter to a client that I didn't feel like I had the experience or whatever to actually work with. But I reached out. The guy's name was David Bullock. I wrote him a letter, basically said, I challenge you to a duel, and I will write a marketing piece without you paying me until and unless the marketing piece actually outperforms your previous marketing piece and gets you more sales, more clients from what I wrote versus what you wrote. This was an incredibly vulnerable moment to actually hit send on that email to say, listen, I'm willing to do this work for you, to do the work for free until I prove that this is actually going to be a success for you. And frankly, almost all the times that I've approached new clients that have felt bigger and more professional or on a higher level than the work that I've been doing in the past, it felt incredibly vulnerable to reach out to them and approach them for the first time. But every time that I've done that, every time that I've embraced that vulnerability and moved forward anyway, it has led to breakthroughs in my copywriting career. Another example from copywriting is frankly, you have to embrace vulnerability every time you put a sales letter or marketing piece or video sales letter or anything out into the market. There is always that chance, even likelihood that nobody's going to respond to it, that it's not going to get sales, it's not going to generate customers for yourself, for your clients, whomever you are putting that sales letter out on behalf of. There's always a chance that it's just going to fail. And that's an incredibly vulnerable practice. My wife asked me a while back, I made some kind of offhand remark about how copywriting was really actually a painful thing to be a part of. That marketing is continuously challenging to my ego, in that I always have to put things out there, and that I always do it with this fear, with this agony that, it's the response is going to be crickets, that nobody's going to respond. And it's really damaging to your ego when that happens, when you put something out and nobody responds to it. However, like it's a practice in vulnerability, and you actually do get stronger every time you do that, even though it's painful, and you learn. And when you embrace vulnerability, it gives you an opportunity to move forward and take away lessons from that failure. And that's what happens every time you put a sales letter out into the market. And kind of on a bigger scale, launching a product or a business. I mean, in the last month or so, I launched Breakthrough Marketing Secrets Insiders, or BTMS Insiders, as a video training platform for marketers, for direct response marketers and entrepreneurs and copywriters and consultants and coaches, anybody who uses direct response marketing as an offer out in the marketplace. And I really, I staked the future of my ego on the success of that product. And frankly, the future of my business could be all tied up in the success of that product. And there was certainly the possibility that nobody would sign up. Now, thankfully, that hasn't been my experience. And now I'm looking at how to maximize it, how to grow it, how to do even more with it. But every time that you launch a product or a business, or for Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, I'm regularly putting out new training on direct response marketing, copywriting, and all of that. Every time I launch new training, there's the possibility that people are going to hate it. There's the possibility that all sorts of negative things can happen. And even if mostly that's my ego being afraid, that's focused on that possibility of failure, it's still real that failure can happen, and it's a vulnerable moment to move forward every time you launch a product or a business. Now, what it comes down to is how you act when failure is likely will determine your success and happiness in life and business, in your career, whatever. How you act, whether you're able to move forward and dare greatly, or whether you freeze up and let that stop you, that's what determines your success and happiness in life. A colleague of mine, Ryan Levesque, talks about in his book, Ask, he talks about leaving it all on the field, and how his proudest moments in sports were not necessarily successes or championships, but his proudest moments in sports were those games where he knew that he could not have brought anything more to the competition than he did. And I was talking to my dad the other day about hockey when I was growing up playing hockey, and how there were games that I lost, that our team lost, but I did everything possible while I was out on the ice to shift the game in our favor. I played defense, and I really love that moment when somebody's coming at me one-on-one or two-on-one, and I need to shut down their attempt at even getting a shot on goal. And it was how I acted in those moments that determined my love for the game of hockey and ultimately led to championships with my teams and doing really well in hockey. So that principle can be applied in business and life and careers, whatever. How you act when failure is likely will determine your success and happiness in life. So be vulnerable, dare greatly, do things even when failure is likely. If you want more from me, including these Video Friday issues and my daily essays on marketing, advertising, growing your business, selling, getting more leads, more sales, more customers, more profits, you can go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. Again, this is Roy Furt, and this is Be Vulnerable, an unexpected path to business success. Thank you very much.